Welcome to the Global Lens, bringing you the latest news from around the world. On August 8, 2025, Manila unveiled a new official map, boldly redefining its maritime boundaries. This was not just a cartographic update, it was a direct challenge to decades of ambiguity in the South China Sea. The map delineates the Philippines' exclusive economic zone, renaming these waters the West Philippine Sea. President Marcos Jr. declared this an assertion of sovereign rights, grounded in international law, not aggression. The map visually enforces the 2016 Arbitral Tribunal ruling, which invalidated China's sweeping claims. By publishing it, Manila forced the dispute into the global spotlight, compelling nations to take a stand. China's response was immediate and fierce, condemning the map as illegal and launching a media offensive. This move was a calculated risk. Manila sought to rally international support and turn legal victory into policy. The new map sets a baseline for all future negotiations, compelling others to acknowledge the Philippine claim. It weaponizes international law, challenging China's de facto control with a public government-backed assertion. The world now faces a new phase in one of the most dangerous maritime disputes. The South China Sea dispute is rooted in colonial history and the rise of modern nation-states. For centuries, these waters were shared by regional fishers and traders. The 20th century saw nations formalize claims over islands and reefs, leading to overlapping entitlements. The Philippines' claim partly stems from Thomas Cloma's 1956 Freedom Land Declaration, later adopted by the government. China's claim, based on ancient navigation and a 1947 map, evolved into the sweeping 9-dash line. This U-shaped line covers nearly 90% of the sea, clashing with neighbors' legal zones. The 1982 UNCLOS Treaty established 200 nautical-mile exclusive economic zones which the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, and Brunei ratified. China also ratified UNCLOS but insists its historical rights supersede the treaty. This core disagreement, historical rights versus international law, fuels the ongoing conflict. The result, a tangled web of claims, each rooted in different histories and legal interpretations. The South China Sea remains a flashpoint where past and present collide. The legal framework is clear, but the political will to enforce it is not. The new map is the culmination of Manila's long legal and diplomatic campaign. West Philippine Sea became official in 2011, rebranding the waters within the Philippine EEZ. The 2016 Hague Tribunal ruling was a turning point, rejecting China's 9-dash line and affirming Philippine rights. The West Philippine Sea is vital, rich in fisheries and potential oil and gas, especially at Reed Bank. Chinese interference has threatened Filipino livelihoods and energy security. The map is Manila's tool to enforce the arbitral award and end years of ambiguity. Under President Marcos Jr., the Philippines has shifted to a more assertive stance, signaling zero tolerance for further encroachment. The map transforms a legal victory into a concrete government-backed reality. It's a declaration. The Philippines will defend its maritime entitlements with every diplomatic and legal tool available. The world must now reckon with Manila's clarified position. The stakes are economic, strategic, and existential for the nation. The map is not just a symbol, it's a call to action. The Philippines is done waiting. China's reaction is anchored in its unwavering 9-dash line claim, a core part of its national identity. Beijing cites ancient maps and artifacts to justify its historical rights, teaching this narrative at home and promoting it abroad. The 9-dash line remains deliberately vague, allowing China to adapt its stance while maintaining maximal claims. China has built artificial islands and military bases, making its presence on the water nearly irreversible. Legally, the 2016 tribunal found China's historic rights extinguished by UNCLOS, but Beijing rejected the ruling outright. China's response to Manila's map diplomatic protest, increased Coast Guard patrols, and a media blitz. Its strategy is to ignore legal setbacks and assert control through overwhelming physical presence. For Beijing, the 9-dash line is non-negotiable, a matter of sovereignty and national pride. The dispute is now a test of willpower, not just legal arguments. China is prepared to defend its claims at all costs. The South China Sea dispute is a tangled multilateral issue, not just a Philippines-China standoff. Vietnam claims both the Spratly and Paracel Islands, citing centuries of administration and fierce resistance to China. Like Manila, Hanoi bases its claims on UNCLOS, but overlaps with China and the Philippines are inevitable. Vietnam's response to the new map is cautious, supportive of legal principles but wary of undermining its own claims. Malaysia claims a southern portion of the Spratlys, relying on UNCLOS, but has grown more assertive as Chinese incursions increase. Malaysia's reaction is measured support for international law, but no direct confrontation with Beijing. Brunei's claim is smallest and quietest, focused on Louisa Reef with a policy of avoiding public disputes. For ASEAN claimants, Manila's move is both opportunity and risk, strengthening the legal case against China but raising regional tensions. The map forces neighbors to balance national interests, ASEAN unity, and relations with China. The region's response is cautious, reflecting the complexity of overlapping claims. The stakes are high for all. The world's response to Manila's map was swift and telling. The U.S. reaffirmed support for the 2016 ruling and the U.S.-Philippines Mutual Defense Treaty, warning Beijing against escalation. Allies like Japan, Australia, and the UK backed a rules-based order, urging peaceful resolution under UNCLOS. The EU called for de-escalation, reflecting its stake in open sea lanes. ASEAN's reaction was divided, claimant states quietly supportive, others silent or urging restraint. The map complicates ongoing code of conduct talks and exposes ASEAN's inability to form a united front. For China, coordinated Western support is a diplomatic setback, internationalizing the dispute. Beijing must now weigh punishing Manila against risking further alienation and regional backlash. The dispute is no longer just regional, it's a test of the global rules-based order. The world is watching China's next move. The South China Sea is a global economic artery. 1/3 of maritime trade, worth trillions, flows through its waters. Any disruption would cripple supply chains and threaten global stability. The sea's fisheries are vital for millions, but competition and overfishing fuel constant clashes. Below the surface lie vast oil and gas reserves, crucial for the Philippines as the Malampaya field nears depletion. Reed Bank, Manila's best hope for energy security, remains blocked by Chinese vessels. The new map signals Manila's intent to develop these resources for national survival. Strategically, the sea is a military choke point. China's artificial islands project power and secure its energy lifelines, while the US and allies insist on freedom of navigation. The South China Sea is now a front line in US-China rivalry. For Manila, the stakes are existential. Economic security and sovereignty are on the line. The contest is about resources, power, and the future of the region. The world cannot afford instability here. Manila's new map has redrawn the region's geopolitical lines. It marks a shift from accommodation to assertive defense of national interests. By anchoring its claim in international law, the Philippines seeks to rally a coalition of like-minded nations. The move deepens US-Philippines security ties, expect more joint exercises and expanded US access to bases. But this alignment also raises the risk of Manila becoming a flashpoint in US-China rivalry. For China, the map is a direct challenge, undermining its narrative and regional ambitions. Beijing faces a dilemma: punish Manila and risk backlash, or appear weak and embolden others. Likely, China will escalate gray zone tactics, Coast Guard pressure, not open conflict. The risk of miscalculation is real. A single incident could spark a crisis. The South China Sea is more crowded and contested than ever. Diplomacy is giving way to hard power. The region's stability hangs in the balance. The world is watching every move. The Philippines' new map is a pivotal moment in the South China Sea saga. Manila has transformed legal victory into a public strategic reality, forcing the world to take sides. China rejects the move, while the US and allies rally behind Manila. ASEAN remains divided. The stakes, sovereignty, resources, and the rules-based order have never been higher. The future is uncertain. Will law or power decide the fate of these waters? Manila's gamble has raised the stakes for all, making the South China Sea a true barometer of global power. The world's response will shape the region for decades. In the end, the contest is not just about maps, but about the future of international order itself.